You gave your loyalty. You gave your time, your attention, your soul. And in return, they left. Or worse, they stayed and turned you into someone even you couldn't recognize. You were once a warrior. Now you overthink a single text message. You once led from your chest. Now you're chasing people who wouldn't even flinch if they lost you. This video isn't just a warning, it's a weapon. Because from this moment on, nothing and nobody will ever hurt you again. This is not coldness, it's clarity. Most people misunderstand emotional detachment. They think it means you don't feel that you are becoming a machine. But what if I told you, that's exactly the lie that's kept you weak? Carl Jung didn't teach repression. He taught integration. He taught individuation, becoming whole by facing your shadow and mastering it. Stoicism doesn't tell you to avoid love. It teaches you to avoid neediness, because the moment you need, you give away control. In this video, you'll learn how to spot the people who drain your energy, cut off psychological parasites with zero guilt, turn rejection into obsession, and most importantly, how to become the version of yourself that never begs, never breaks, and never bleeds for the wrong person again. Let's begin. Number 1, they didn't betray you. You betrayed yourself. You saw the red flags, but you called it potential. You heard your intuition screaming, but you silenced it to avoid being alone. Here's the truth. Most people don't destroy you. You destroy yourself by refusing to let them go. You knew they were inconsistent. You knew they couldn't love you the way you needed. But still, you stayed. Because deep down you thought, maybe this time it'll be different. That's not love. That's emotional addiction. And the Stoic understands. If it costs your peace, it's too expensive. You owe it to yourself to protect your energy like a king guards his crown. Number 2, they can't hurt you. If you stop giving them the weapon, imagine this. Every time you react emotionally to someone, you're handing them a sword and you're saying, here, use this, I trust you. But most people aren't careful. They slash you, unintentionally or not, and you keep handing them more weapons, hoping one day they'll stop. Wake up. Emotional power is not a gift, it's a test. Epictetus once said, no one can harm you without your consent. So why do you keep consenting? Here's how to stop. When they provoke you, don't react, observe. When they pull away, don't chase, mirror. When they lie, don't argue, exit. Detachment doesn't punish them, it protects you. Number 3, the illusion of emotional obligation, guilt, empathy, hope. Those are beautiful qualities, until they're used against you. Carl Jung believed the unconscious seeks balance. If you were raised in chaos, you'll crave people who feel like chaos. Why? Because your shadow hasn't been integrated yet. You think helping the broken makes you whole. You feel obligated to fix them, to stay when it hurts, to give when it's empty. That's not compassion, it's trauma in disguise. You don't owe your healing to the person who hurt you. You were taught to be nice, but being nice will get you used. You're not here to be liked. You're here to be respected, first by yourself, then by others. 4, become the stone wall. But warm on the inside. Stoics believed in becoming fortresses, strong on the outside, soft within, not numb, disciplined. Imagine your emotions as sacred fire. Do you let anyone walk into your temple and piss on it? So why let emotional beggars steal your light? Here's how to become the stone wall. Let people talk. You don't react. Let people leave. You don't chase. Let people lie. You don't defend, because truth doesn't need an alibi. You remain still, centered, untouchable. That's not being cold. That's being unbreakable. Number 5, the energy thief test. You've met them. The people who smile when you're winning, just to get closer, then drain you when you're not looking. They don't stab you in the back. They exhaust you slowly, like a slow leak in a tire. Here's how you know you're dealing with an energy thief. You feel tired after talking to them. You feel smaller after sharing your wins. You second-guess your worth around them. Pay attention to how you feel around someone, not what they say, not what they promise. What do you feel? Your nervous system knows before your brain does. Carl Jung said, "People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul. So they project, they siphon, they unconsciously latch onto your light because they fear their own darkness. And you let them." Here's the Stoic remedy. Observe without absorbing. Leave without explaining. Protect your peace like a sacred flame. If they can't feed your spirit, they have no place at your table. Number 6, turn rejection into psychological leverage. Let me hit you with this. She rejected you because she thought you were safe to reject. It wasn't about your looks. It wasn't about your value. It was about how available you made yourself. Most men, when rejected, chase. They try harder. They over-communicate. They explain their worth. And that kills desire instantly. But the Stoic man, he withdraws. He vanishes, not to punish, but to recalibrate. You turn the silence into tension. You let absence become attraction. You let her imagination do the damage. Here's a truth you must tattoo on your psyche. Distance creates respect. Silence creates obsession. Don't beg for closure. Become it. Don't prove your worth. Become so scarce that she questions her decision for the rest of her life. That's not revenge. That's psychological leverage. Number 7, your inner child is running your love life. This one's going to hurt, but it will free you. You're not in love with her. You're addicted to the version of you that gets to feel seen when she's around. You didn't fall for her smile. You fell for how safe she made your inner child feel. Carl Jung taught that what you don't make conscious will rule your life, and you'll call it fate. You're not chasing a woman. You're chasing your mother's approval, your father's attention, the comfort your 8-year-old self never got. That's why breakups feel like death. Because it's not just her leaving. It's the inner child losing the only caretaker he thought he had. But guess what? You're not a boy anymore. The Stoic doesn't seek healing through people. He heals by becoming the person his younger self needed. That's emotional individuation. You don't need to be held. You need to hold yourself, especially in your darkest hour. Number 8, control the frame, control the pain. Pain is real, but suffering, that's a choice. Most people suffer not because of what happened, but because of how they interpreted it. She ghosted you? You assumed it means you're not enough. He betrayed you? You concluded that everyone is out to hurt you. But what if I told you? The pain came not from the event, but from your frame around the event? Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." You keep replaying what happened, but you can rewrite how you see it. Frame the silence as a gift. Frame the heartbreak as redirection. Frame the rejection as protection. The Stoic doesn't avoid pain. He studies it. He asks, what's the meaning I've assigned here? And is it still serving me? The power isn't in what happens. It's in the frame you wrap it in. Change the frame. Change your life. Number 9, the ultimate test. Can you walk away? Here's the most painful truth you'll hear today. 99% of your suffering comes from the inability to walk away. You stayed when you should have left. You gave when it was empty. You explained yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. Why? Because walking away felt like failure. But here's the shift. Walking away is the highest form of self-love. Most men fold when they feel emotional tension. They'd rather sacrifice their dignity than sit with discomfort. But the Stoic man, he sees discomfort as the gatekeeper of transformation. So ask yourself, can you walk when she withdraws her affection? Can you stay calm when your phone doesn't buzz for hours? Can you hold the silence and still sleep peacefully? If you can master the art of walking away, you master power, attraction, self-respect, and above all, peace. Number 10, the Stoic mindset upgrade, from slave to sovereign. Let's make one thing clear. You were never weak. You were just untrained. You didn't lack value. You lacked boundaries. You weren't too emotional. You were simply unaware of the extent to which you were giving away your power. But from this moment forward, you upgrade from slave to sovereign. The Stoic doesn't let the outside world dictate his internal state. He doesn't need validation to feel worthy. He doesn't need company to feel whole. Why? Because he's made the internal shift from this. I need them to love me. To this, I choose whether they deserve my love. From this, why did they leave? To this, why did I stay? From this, I hope they change. To this, I've changed. That's enough. This is what Carl Jung meant when he said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. You were living unconsciously. Now you're awake. Now you're dangerous, not because you hurt others, but because no one can hurt you without your permission. Now you are untouchable. You still feel, but nothing controls you. You still care, but no one can use it against you. You still love, but now, only those who've earned it. This is the new version of you, calm under fire, centered when disrespected, silent when provoked, focused when abandoned, powerful when alone, because nothing outside you defines you anymore. Not her validation, not their opinion, not the pain, the rejection, the ghosting, the betrayal. You are the source now. And here's the most brutal truth of all. When you finally become untouchable, they come back. Why? Because the energy they once fed on is now self-sustaining. You no longer need them, and that is the most addictive trait of all. So ask yourself, are you still the boy who reacts? Or have you become the man who watches and walks? Because when you no longer fear loss, you gain everything. If this message pierced you, good. Because of that piercing, that's not pain. That's the old self dying. Now it's your move. Subscribe if you're done being emotionally manipulated. Comment, I am untouchable, to anchor your transformation. Rewatch this video anytime you feel weak. Let it rewire your mind. And above all, never explain your worth again. Never beg to be chosen again. Never bleed for people who would never even bandage your wounds. You are not here to be liked. You are here to be respected by the most important person in your life, you.